The following clip is from Patterns of Evidence, Exodus. For more information, go to patternsofevidence.com.
I'm Timothy Mahoney, an investigative filmmaker. I'm like a detective, hunting for evidence. Now, the story I'm about to tell you is a very exciting one because it's about finding patterns of evidence that match the stories in the Bible. I never thought these young people would join me in telling this story. They're just regular kids on the biggest adventure of their lives. There's Ellie, Brandon, Ty, Oksana, Sam, Carly, Zaria, Milo, Eliana, Hannah. Together they would embark on a journey of discovery, looking for patterns of evidence, uncovering the story of the Exodus. They would become young explorers. Eliana and Hannah, I want you to read Joshua chapter 6, verse 24.
And they burned the city with fire, and everything in it.
Only the silver and gold, and the vessels of bronze and iron, they put into the treasury of the house of the Lord.
Did the archaeologists find anything related to these Bible verses in Jericho?
Within the city, a very unique discovery was made. Both Garstang and Kenyon found in the houses that they excavated many jars full of grain that were stored there.
Why is that so unusual?
This is unique because when a city is conquered, the conqueror would go into the city and plunder the city, including the grain, because that was valuable, not only for food, but you could use it for bartering. It was like money. We have Egyptian records, for example, that describe their siege of Canaanite cities, and they always describe in great detail the plunder that they took out of those cities, and grain is always listed there, the amount of grain they were able to take from the city. So why was this grain left there in Jericho to be burned up when the city was set on fire? Well, the answer is in Joshua chapter 6, where we read that God commanded the Israelites not to plunder Jericho. It was to be offered up as an offering to the Lord, the first fruits of the promised land.
That's not all. When I was in England, Professor Bimson told me about more evidence matching the Bible at Jericho.
The store jars in the city were pretty full. That suggests the harvest had only recently been gathered in. And the details in the biblical account point to an event that happened sometime in the spring. And down there in the Jordan Valley, spring is when the harvest is gathered in, the grain harvest.
When the Israelites crossed the Jordan, the first thing they did was celebrate Passover. Well, when is Passover? Again, the spring of the year.
So the Bible says that it happened in the spring, and the archaeology shows that it happened in the spring.
It's another match.
The full jars also indicate that if this was a siege, it was very short, unusual for a strong, fortified city such as Jericho.
And that matches the biblical account because the siege was only 7 days. Otherwise, the people inside would have consumed a lot of that grain if it dragged out for months.
Was the grain found all over the city?
Yes. In every house that was excavated, they found jars of grain.
The young explorers have learned that archaeologists at Jericho uncovered many things that uniquely matched the Bible's account. There were high city walls that had fallen down, and the city was intentionally burned afterward. They also found storage jars filled with charred grain, which shows that the city was only surrounded for a short time in the spring, just after the harvest was taken in, like the Bible says. All the grain left in the city means it wasn't taken out by the invaders, but burned in place, even though it was valuable. This is very unusual, but matches the commandment to the Israelites to burn everything in the city except the precious metals.